Today, I'm going to be sharing how you show, don't tell in personal narratives for grade 6. Show, don't tell is one of the most important writing techniques for creating engaging personal narratives. When you tell, you simply state facts or feelings. But when you show, you use descriptive details, actions, dialogue, thoughts, and sensory language to help readers experience your story as if they were there with you. I'm going to give you some examples of telling and showing to help you understand what I mean. If you're telling, you're simply stating information. You could say, I was nervous. But if you're showing and you want to create a vivid picture through details, you could say, my hands trembled as I tried to hold my pencil, and my stomach felt like it was full of butterflies. You see the difference? I'm going to share some more with you. An example of telling would be to say, it was hot outside. But showing, you might try something like, sweat dripped down my face as the sun beat down on the playground, making the metal slide too hot to touch. There's a big difference there. In the next example, if you were telling, you could simply state, my teacher was angry. But if you want to show that, you could say, Mrs. Garcia's eyebrows squeezed together as she tapped her red pen on her desk and took a deep breath. There's a lot more that your reader can imagine and picture in their mind. Another example of telling would be, I was excited about the field trip. If you were using the same example there, you could show it by stating, I couldn't sleep the night before the field trip and jumped out of bed as soon as my alarm buzzed. The final example I'll share with you here on telling is the dog was scary. Now remember to compare that to showing. The dog's yellow teeth were bared and deep growls rumbled from its throat as it strained against its chain. Now, we can talk about examples of showing, don't tell in personal narratives. For example, if you were feeling nervous, you could simply tell someone, I was nervous about my piano recital. But showing them with your words, you could say, as I waited for my turn to perform, my fingers felt cold and stiff. My heart pounded so loudly, I was sure everyone could hear it. I kept wiping my sweaty palms on my new dress, while the music from the stage seemed to fade behind the rushing sound in my ears. She sounds really nervous. Here's another example, and this one would be about being excited. If you were to simply tell that you were excited, it would sound something like this. I was so excited that we won the championship game. Showing your reader, you could say something like this. When the final buzzer sounded, I threw my arms into the air and screamed until my throat hurt. I raced across the court and leaped into a group hug with my teammates, all of us jumping up and down, our faces stretched with enormous grins. Coach's eyes glistened with tears as he held the trophy above his head. You could also use it if you felt disappointed. If you were to simply say, I was disappointed when I didn't make the honor roll. That wouldn't paint the same picture as showing. If you stated, I stared at the honor roll list on the bulletin board, scanning each name twice to make sure I hadn't missed mine. My shoulders slumped as I turned away. The certificate I'd imagined showing to my parents, vanishing from my mind. At lunch, I pushed my food around on my plate while my friends compared their grades. You could also describe a setting by showing your reader. If you told them, you could simply state, "My grandma's house was old and cozy." But if you really want to show your reader, you could say, "Stepping into Grandma's house was like walking into another century. The wooden floors creaked under my feet, telling stories of the generations who had walked there before me. Handmade quilts draped over the arms of worn armchairs, and the smell of cinnamon and apples always floated from the kitchen, wrapping around me like a warm hug." You could also describe someone's personality. Instead of simply telling your reader that "my little brother is really annoying," you could show them by saying, "My little brother followed me to my room asking why after everything I said. When I tried to do my homework, he drummed his fingers on my desk and hummed the same 3 notes over and over. Just as I started to concentrate, he accidentally knocked my water bottle onto my notebook, creating a blue puddle across my math problems." This could also work with being scared. If you were to tell someone you were scared, you would write, "The thunderstorm scared me." But showing them could be, "I ducked under my blanket as another flash lit up my bedroom walls. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, crack! The thunder shook the windows, and I squeezed my eyes shut. The wind howled around the corners of the house like a hungry wolf, and tree branches scraped against the siding like skeleton fingers trying to get in." Another example would be if you were feeling proud. You would state, if you were telling someone, "I felt proud when I finished my science project." If you showed them you were proud through your writing, you would say, "I stepped back from my completed volcano model, admiring the way the painted lava flows looked against the rocky surface I'd crafted from paper mache. After 3 weeks of staying up late, fixing mistakes and getting paint in my hair, I couldn't stop smiling at what I'd created. For once, I couldn't wait for my turn to present to the class." So I'm going to end with some tips for showing in your personal narrative. Be sure to use sensory details. What did you see, hear, smell, taste, or feel? Tip number 2, describe your physical reactions. How did your body respond to emotions? Tip number 3, include specific actions. What exactly did you or others do? Tip number 4, add dialogue. What was said and how it was said. Tip number 5, share your thoughts. What was going through your mind? Tip number 6, use figurative language. How can you compare things to help readers understand? When you show instead of tell in your personal narrative, you create a more vivid and engaging experience for your reader, making them feel like they're experiencing your story alongside you. That's all for now. Till next time.